Hey everyone, I'm Andrew Bermudez. I am Vice President and Partner over at Lee& Associates in Irvine. I had a team called Building Solutions Group, and what Building Solutions Group does is eHarmony for office space, industrial space, and let's say flex space, whether it's leasing or sales. We take your specific requirements and we match them up against all the properties that are out there and show you the ones that closely resemble what we're looking for, if not perfectly. So what I wanted to talk about right now is actually lease renegotiations, and also what are being done right now is lease workouts. Um, Lease renegotiation for many tenants can be an emotional experience. A lot of the times the tenant's been in the building for about, let's say, 3 or 5 years, and they get they get along very well with the landlord, and they have a good relationship. The property manager is really nice. However, they notice that when the time comes to renegotiate their lease, that things tend to intensify a little bit, and not in a bad way. However, let's say they're paying $2 a square foot per month for their existing space, and the market's let's say $1.75 a square foot, and they approach the landlord saying, "Hey, I want to pay what they did," and they say, "Well, you know what? We did a bunch of tenant improvements, or we've got, you're comfortable there." As a landlord, I realize that my most profitable transaction is going to be a renewal. And the reason why is because I don't have to spend any money on tenant improvements or paint or new carpet or any other additional work, simply because the space already works for you and there's going to be a move-in inconvenience. However, on the tenant side, it can be really tough, simply because it takes you several rounds of negotiation to get back and forth. And the reason I got to tell you that it might be difficult for you is simply because you're approaching the landlord directly. And I'm not saying use a broker in your lease renewal. I know that you want to keep a good relationship with your landlord. However, when a landlord is approached by the tenant directly, it most likely means that they're not looking. Not all the time. They may be just looking around, calling off signs, touring spaces on their own. However, it's not the same than when you've got an agent. When an agent on my listings where I represent a landlord, when an agent approaches me, I intensify my negotiation, because now I've got a broker who wants to get paid, whether it's renewing the tenant in our building or relocating them somewhere else. And there's a lot of competition right now in this market. I will intensify myself because I know that they're actively looking, and that broker or agents looking to do anything possible so that they're able to monetize on that transaction. Um, so, word of advice is just be, if you are going to represent yourself, get lease availabilities from somebody you know who has access to the multiple commercial MLS systems. Also, get comps. The MLS systems give you what's called asking prices, but they don't tell you what the actual lease and concessions negotiated at the end of the day are. For example, building A in the city of Irvine off of Jeffrey might be asking $2 a square foot, but they actually lease the space 2 weeks from now at $1.85 a square foot, throw in 2 months of free rent, and construct an additional office and repaint the suite. So that would be more of a lease comp, because you have an asking rate and you have the actual details of the quote-unquote deal. Lease workouts. A lot of people, and I get approached this in all my listings that I've got available for lease. I get the existing tenant calling me saying, "Hey, look, can we do anything with the landlord?" And I usually connect them directly with my client, the landlord. Um, and it's a very tough thing. A lot of the times, a tenant thinks that because the economy is so bad and lease rates are so low, that they can just pick up the phone, approach the landlord, say, "Hey, look, we're having a hard time, and can you lower us the rent? The value's lower now," and that the landlord will actually comply. Landlords are smarter than that, and that is not going to work. In fact, if you approach the Irvine company or approach Olin Properties, what you will experience, like, we can help you out. Give us your financials. Let us see your balance sheet, your income statement, and let us determine whether what you're telling us, how your business is being affected by this economy, will actually affect your performance on your lease on our property. So what you got to do a lot of the times, you have to um, approach the landlord, have your financials ready, your tax statements, your incoming income, because if you are really not suffering, that transaction is not going to happen. In most instances, landlords will actually reach out to the tenant to do some sort of a lease modification or a lease workout, and that's to tenants that have been late on their rent, 2, 3 months, etc., and they've been served 3-day pay or quit or eviction notices. Landlords, are not mean people. They are great people. They're very smart, but they're in a business, and they're in the business of real estate. So they are very smart individuals who will know when you're bluffing. So you have to be equipped. If you don't need the lease workout, and because your financials, or maybe you are making money still and it's not affecting your payroll, it's not affecting the performance of your business, you know that when the landlord is reviewing your financials and your income statements and what you've got in the pipeline as far as business, that they will see that you can pay the rent. Do something else. Renegotiate your lease. If you're in a 3-year lease and you've got 10 months left on your lease and you don't think you're going to move and you want to take advantage of the lower lease rates now, go up to your landlord and say, hey, look, I would like to renew my lease at the lower rate for 3 years. What can we make work? And you will find that approach to be not only easier because you don't have to present different financials and bug your accounting department or your CFO or anybody who controls your finances and wait for the data, but it'll be a much more mutually beneficial transaction. The landlord gets to keep you, the landlord wants to keep you, and you get to benefit from the lower lease rates of today. I hope that helps all of you out. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever, you can email me at abermudez@lee-associates.com or abermudez@finditfillit.com. Or you can go to our blog and read a little bit more about different topics that we've talked about at blog.finditfillit.com, and you can just look at the links at the bottom of the screen here. And make it a great day. Thanks so much for watching and listening.